Start with fire, add oil, let it simmer. From the crew at 58 Surf and Stab, this isn't just a podcast, it's a sensory experience. Fresh from the coast, full of flavor, and prepared to perfection. Well, kinda. This is 58 Surf and Turf. Let's get cooked. All right, here we are. Hello, welcome. 58 Surf and Turf. I'm Brendan Buckley. This thing is powered by Stab, and I am here with a guest, Victor Bernardo. Victor, how are we?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm very good, thank you. I understand you got some waves this morning.
A couple fun ones, yeah. It was fun. Yeah, exactly. Fun.
Okay, cool. And could you tell everybody why you're in town? A little contest brought you over?
Yeah. Got the invite for the Capítulo Perfeito and could not resist, of course. It was always my dream to be part of this event since I first started seeing it. And from the moment I stopped competing, I was like, okay, now there might be a chance I get the call. And yeah, it was like a day before, and I was luckily close by. So Twiga called me and he was like, "Are you in? You want to come?" I was like, "Of course." So we he arranged everything, and I made it here. And next day was like a rainy, ugly day, like one of those days that you don't even want to leave the house. But we went for a little surf with a friend of mine, and yeah, it was the next day. It was on, and it was a beautiful day of fun waves.
Sick. When was the last time you were here, other than this trip?
The last time I was here was actually for QS in Ericeira.
No way.
Yeah, I was, so right before COVID, I was in the mix of the primes, which was the 10,000s. And when COVID hit, I don't know what happened, but they changed everything, and all of a sudden I wasn't. And when the contest came back, I was like right out of the line of being in, which is, I don't know why. Like, I guess I was barely making it, so it fell out.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here as an alternate. I did here and Friends, which was pretty fun. But yeah, I didn't get a good result. I think I made one heat, or yeah, I don't even remember actually.
So that was before COVID, or are you talking about the year after COVID when they had like the...
It was after COVID.
Okay,
Yeah,
when they had like the, whatever they call it now, I guess the Challenger in France.
Yeah.
Okay. And didn't go so well.
No.
No.
I feel like competing for me was always really hard. I never really followed the judging criteria, which is, I got a lot of people telling me, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just want to surf. I just want to surf the way I want to surf, and not the way people want me to, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one of the reasons why well, of course, with several others, but one of the reasons why I barely made heats on the QS.
But I mean, when you were young, it would have been like no other option, right? Like if you're...
Exactly, yeah, true. But I just didn't have that fake ability in me. Like, I want to make it look hard, you know? Like,
yeah,
something like that. Or, I don't know, like, they always told me I was too relaxed to be able to get scores. And I was like, okay, well,
what do you want me to do?
I guess this is not for me.
Up your body a bit.
Exactly. And yeah, it was never really my thing. It was something, I feel like competing was more something that people would tell me to do, and what I had to do to survive and like live off of surfing. And it was my only option, of course. So I did it, and I don't regret it, of course. I learned a lot from it. I feel like that's a thing in surfing competition. You get so many, you fall so much, you know, to be on top. And I feel like you barely make it to the top, and then you fall again. I mean, if you're not one of the top 10s, top 5, whatever, you're only like kind of wasting money. And to me, it was one of the things, one of the reasons too. I stopped doing it because I lost my sponsors, and I literally didn't have any money to like keep going. My initial plan was when I got dropped by all my sponsors, to because I of course didn't make much of the heats. It wasn't what they were looking for in a surfer. My plan was to go to America and work and try to do the regional there, since they moved it to regional stuff, and ended up getting a call from Album and changed my life, and living off of surfing now and living my dream pretty much. It was actually what I really wanted to do since I was little, because I grew up watching movies, and that's every surfer's dream, to surf perfect waves with your friends and always score kind of thing. And I thought, I made a good move.
Yeah, I would say it's working out.
I'm
Seems to be going
pretty
good.
stoked, yeah.
Did you ever, like, when you were
Thank you.
all sponsored, did you ever think about like running up to your sponsors and saying like, hey, maybe competing isn't for me, maybe I do want to just make more movies and just go on trips? Or did it just seem like people really just wanted you to be like, hey, this is how you succeed as a pro, you just have to compete? Or did you feel like, do you ever entertain the idea of like telling your sponsors that that's the route you wanted to go and see if they'd back you?
I didn't really get a chance to do it when I was sponsored by a big brand from the board riders. I don't want to tell, but people know.
We know.
Yeah. I got a 1 month notice. They're like, "You're out." I'm like, literally had no words. I was like, okay.
Was it during one of those things where, there's been
Board riders bought it.
And so it's one of those things where a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always at least a little bit nicer than knowing they didn't.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't drag. Yeah, exactly. But it hurt a lot at the moment. It was a tough pill to swallow for sure. I literally, everything I do is for my family, and at the moment I was saving money to like give them a better life, like buy a house or something like that, and I had to use the whole savings that I had to keep trying to do the QS, which I thought it was something I had to do, but not really.
Yeah.
And luckily life is a roller coaster, and we have our ups and downs, and just gotta stay stable and fluctuate through the bumps, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Right?
So tell me about the board that changed your life.
The board that changed my life was the brand Album Surf. It was, I grew up always surfing on different boards, being always curious about boards. I would ask my dad to surf his boards. I know it's just bigger boards and stuff, but my older shaper too would always ask him to surf his older boards that he made, and because he's like a shaper from the 70s, I would always take out a twin, a single fin, or even an alaya or something like that, and I always would try to figure out how to surf them. And that opened my mind a lot in terms of like moving my feet on a board and stuff like that. And when I first heard from Album, I would keep messaging my friends, and like we had a group message between my friends back home, and we would always send each other pictures of the boards that would be coming out, and on Album's Instagram.
Yeah.
And once I left Brazil, I told my friend, I was like, hey, I'm gonna save up but I need to save up money to at least buy one of these boards so we can have it and share it, have a go and see how it goes, and a few months in from when I moved into California, I got the call to like have a meeting and maybe possibly ride for them. And I was like, I presented that to my coach, and at the time Paulo Kiji, he coached Jesse Mendes, Alejo Muniz, and a bunch of the Brazilian surfers that made the tour and stuff. But I presented it to him, and he was like, don't even think about it, Victor. Like, do it. Like, don't even think. Just go, do it, because I feel like it's something you should do. And it's it's been fun.
Wow, that's nice. I thought you were gonna say you didn't get the coach's
No,
approval.
no,
I
no,
thought you were
I
gonna say,
didn't.
hey, he said no, no, no.
No, he was
Get
like,
back on a thruster, brother. We
don't
got
even, yeah.
2000 coming up around the corner.
No.
Get to Pismo.
He was like, Victor, the way I see it, it will be a great opportunity for you to achieve your goals. And yeah, he was like, don't even think about the QS anymore, man. Just go.
Wow. Yeah, don't ever think about it again.
Yeah,
Please don't.
exactly.
Can you do that for us? Just never let it cross your mind again.
He kind of does sometimes when I see fun waves and the guys are having, a go. Like the one in Morocco
Morocco right
just
now?
now. I was like, wow,
You're like,
I
uh-oh.
would love to do that one.
It would be sick. I mean, I think when when Mikey February is on tour, people were always, especially like leading up to the JBA event, talking about like, oh, what if he rides, a fish or something? What
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
rides something that's super different from what you see obviously in heats, but isn't uncommon at that wave and works perfect for that wave. But obviously he didn't do
He
that.
didn't do that.
Now he just does it, makes movies and has a way better career, kind of like you.
Yeah. Well, he's a whole model. He's a guy to follow and yeah, get inspiration. It's inspired from.
Yeah. Is he a friend now? Have you been on some trips with him?
Yeah, we just actually did the natural selection contest and we stayed in the same room and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Really?
Like, he's
That's a
super,
stylish room.
he's super cool. Thank you. He's super cool. Super nice guy.
What was that like? I mean, obviously everybody saw the waves that you guys got when the heats were on, but were you able to free surf around it a bit? Like, was that like super tidal or like
There-
what was the experience like in terms of surfing at that thing? Because obviously there was a few in that blew everybody's mind, but I want to know what it was like day to day on site there.
Not many windows.
Not
Like,
really.
the wind was really strong and really hard to find a good window to surf. With the tides too and stuff. Right after the contest, there was supposed to be a good swell, but kind of faded away, and the wind got too strong and stuff like that.
Mm.
We did have a couple of free surf sessions, but not as good as what we got in the comp.
Yeah.
I
Was
would
it like
say.
similar to the day on the finals or even not as good as that? Because the finals got a little bit smaller.
It was, yeah, it wasn't as good.
Mm.
Actually, the day before they ran it, it was a building swell and it was really actually pretty clean in the morning, but they didn't have anything ready. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. I'm
We're
sorry.
allowed to here.
I'm
It's surf and
sorry.
turf.
Yeah,
P8.
I'm sorry if I did. But yeah, I don't think it would have been great either because it wasn't what they're expecting. Like the wave wasn't fully doing it. It was just smaller and like really long periods, like really slow in between sets, which was fun for us to like get a little go, get a little taste of it and have a little surf out there we surfed with Brad Gerlach and all the judges, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, but I don't think it was what they were expecting and hoping for us to surf and do the run the contest.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you go back to that wave? Would you try to get it again, or what was your experience surfing
I think
it?
so, yeah. When you surf a wave for the first time, you're kind of lost, and that's how I feel when I surf a spot for the first time. I'm like, where should I sit? Which wave should I go? And with the time, you understand better, and you get to learn which wave to go and where to sit and stuff like that. So I feel like that it's like that all around the world. So yeah, I think if I went back, I would go with a different mindset and maybe look for the right ones.
Yeah.
I only got the smaller ones because it's such a trippy wave because it's like it comes from really deep ocean to like this shelf of crazy shallow reef. But when you're paddling for it, it seems like the wave is like a closeout, literally a closeout. You have to be super quick to your feet, and it doesn't even seem like it on the video.
Yeah.
I was tripping on that. I was like, whoa, that wave that guy got right next to me didn't seem like a good wave, and it was a insane wave.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, it looked like
yeah,
a pretty tricky wave to read. It looked like a nightmare backside too. The goofy footers, I was like, ooh.
yeah. Well, Kao Lee didn't even get a wave.
Yeah,
Like on his second heat, it was really tough. I don't know, the images, the broadcast that they did, to me didn't really seem like it. Like what I felt in the water. Like
yeah.
even size wise, I was like, whoa, trippy.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there was one angle, like I think the wave that everybody would have seen from it was Eitan's,
Mm-hmm.
where one angle didn't really do it justice, and then there's one where it looks like it's almost shot really low. I
Mm-hmm.
guess maybe you could tell how like shallow it is, how much
Yeah.
water is sucking, where it's like you just see it doesn't look like a wave that you see in many other parts of the world. It's just like such a deep gutter,
Yeah.
so much water in the wave,
Mm-hmm.
stretching down the reef.
Mm-hmm.
Looked yeah, looked
It
interesting.
was very tough. Definitely tough. And the that angle you're talking about, the guy was on top of his scaffolding, like
Really?
a stories,
Wow,
like
okay.
maybe the size of this.
That's some context.
Yeah, crazy. That wave is like I said, it comes from really deep water to like really shallow shelf, and it just runs. And I was one of the big waves that they showed on the broadcast, the very square one, unforgettable one.
Yeah.
I had a wave before that, which I don't. I tried to make it, and it chandeliered, and I strained out. I was like, "There is no way I'm trying to pull into this. It's, I'm gonna get smoked." And I took the next one on the head, which was the first one of the set. But the second one of the set was like insane. Like I never seen something like that. It was literally like chopes, but
Just sprinting down the reef.
sprinting. Yeah, exactly, as
Yeah.
fast as it could be. And I was on the inside looking at the wave, and I couldn't see the bottom of it.
Wow.
Like it literally goes like this, Like I was like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah.
I was far in, but yeah, it was crazy.
Damn. Well, you're now living in Oceanside, California, correct?
Yes.
Not too many waves like that around there, but where do you like
Nah.
to surf? I see a lot of you at lowers.
Yeah, I surf lowers a lot. During summer, I try to go to blacks during winter time. Um, Sometimes if I see some interesting, I drive my way up to Rincon because it's an iconic wave, of course, and all the waves around that zone is super fun. And yeah, I just try to stay active and mostly do some trips if I'm able to. And yeah, luckily, blast for all my sponsors that have been keeping me busy and getting me on the go and having me go bunch of different places, which is super cool. I think I've been traveling more than even more than how often I did on the QS, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Got to see different places, which is always incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm loving it, living the dream for sure.
Do you have a favorite wave in the world?
It's really hard to make that call, I feel like.
You gotta. Putting you on the
It's so
spot.
hard. I always have home as a answer because it's not really about the waves sometimes.
Yeah.
It's who you're with, and yeah, you could surf the best waves ever. Like I was I was probably out in so many of the days that people got their wave of their lives, but it just wasn't my day.
Yeah.
And but that being said, it's just like I said, it's not about how the wave is, it's about how you surf and the ways you get and stuff like that. The moments that keeps it stays marked in your mind, in your
Okay.
head.
Then describe to me like a dream session at home. Who's out? What are the waves like? What's
Oh,
going on?
big south swell, north winds, um, all the boys, my friends from my childhood, Victor Mendez, Jesse, Herbert Moreno, my my family, my brother, my all my close friends, and yeah, that's it pretty much.
Nice. So it sounds like you grew up in a surfing family.
Yeah, my dad got me into it super young. Him and my uncle, um my cousin, they all surfed growing up, so my brother too. And yeah, I grew up going to the beach every day and just spending all day at the beach and climbing trees on the way back, trying to get little fruits and yeah, cooking it. And yeah, it was my childhood.
Nice. Do you remember like your first wave? My dad surfs and I just flat out don't. I don't remember. I just remember surfing being a part of my life. I don't remember like an early wave or anything. Do you?
Um, I remember the times that I went to the beach super young and not definitely not the first wave, but like yeah, I think I was 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really young. But
Did you grow up like how far was it to get to the beach from where you lived?
around 10 blocks, 12 blocks.
Okay, it's pretty mellow.
Yeah, not too bad. We always would walk and I remember I would always walk on the way there
Uh-huh.
and ask my dad to carry me on the way back because I was like surfed out and yeah, too tired.
Uh,
But yeah, I was with all the childhood friends. I used to live in a favela, so majority of them is don't even surf anymore, and some went into crime, which is really sad. Some are in jail, or a couple ones even ended up dying
damn.
early in an early age, which is insanely heavy. Yeah, my condolences to them.
So was surfing something that you felt like made it clear that you weren't gonna go in any of those sketchy directions? Like surfing gave you a focus and gave you like, and imagine early on some support and just some structure in life. Is that fair to say?
For sure, it was my biggest goal to be a surfer. I had a poster of Kelly Slater right above my bed. um, Watched Trilogy and Snap 2 at the moment, like on repeat every day. I
All
just
right,
wanted to surf every day, and
gonna put you
yeah,
on the spot again. Favorite surf movie, especially like thinking about it from that more childhood era.
all those movies are from that um, what should I call it? That time, you know. Obviously, I'm hard to name them all.
I mean, Trilogy and Snap 2 is they're
Trilogy,
off to a
Snap
good start.
2, yeah, exactly. Modern Collective,
Of course.
Momentum, a bunch of others. It's just so hard to name them all.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
that you ask, you know. But yeah, just grew up watching surf movies on repeat, and my dream was always to surf, and yeah.
Do you feel like there's a certain surfer that you looked up to more than others in those early days?
It was more like a combo of surfers, never really like a specific one. I always obviously looked up to Adriano
Mm-hmm.
because he's from same hometown, kind of same history. Like grew up in a favela. His biggest goal was to support his family and give them a better life, which is yeah, pretty much the same thing. And obviously he was one of the greatest competitors we've seen, at least coming out of Brazil. His goals were way beyond what people thought he would get, which
Yeah.
was very impressive. And yeah, I at the time I wanted to compete, so I always obviously looked up to him and Kelly's later. Mick, Joe, which is I'm doing a trip with Joe right now, and it's unbelievable. It's just never thought I would even see him in person, let alone do a trip and go surf with him. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. That must be mind blowing, especially you mentioned Trilogy before, so just be like, oh,
Exactly,
part
yeah.
go.
I watched that on repeat so many times. There's a video of me that I'm like, I had my headphones, and it's that part that he has his headphones and he's dancing, and
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to copy him and say the same stuff. It's just so funny.
How old were you?
It's not that long ago, like
Uh,
3 years ago, I think.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not too long ago.
Yeah, I still watch that. Like, yeah, I
Wow.
know every little move, every detail. It's pretty sick. I have
Yeah.
a playlist of the movie, which is always get me going.
Yeah, yeah. After watching it 3,000 times, just like the song just
Exactly.
immediately makes you think of good surfing.
Exactly.
So you mentioned Adriano before, and obviously I think he's one of the most inspirational people in surfing, full stop. Like you said, what he came from and him having those lofty goals, and for a while people just didn't think he could do it,
Mm-hmm.
and he believed in himself and pulled it off.
Yeah.
I don't see much of his style in your surfing.
Mm-hmm.
What about for like style inspiration? You mentioned Parko, but is there anybody else that like you feel like you were drawn to in terms of how they looked riding a surfboard at the early age?
Um, Fabio Gouveia, Tom Curran, Mick, Joe. It was more like watching them all, just trying to learn how they position their feet on the board and they what they would do exactly with their arm and how to better barrel ride. Obviously Andy, Taj, just so many surfers that I looked up to, like still do, of course. And it's never feel like surfers never really like trying to copy. It's more like trying to do your own,
Yeah,
basically. A lot of people compare and stuff, which is normal, but I feel like surfing is so unique that we all have our own little thing going, and it's just yeah, I'm just trying to step on the right spot on the board and let it flow and let it, you know. Um, Obviously, surfing on these boards that I've been surfing lately made it a lot easier than surfing on a normal thruster.
yeah,
Um, Never thought I would be surfing so much, like often wise. Um, on asing boards, like that wasn't really a thing growing up that I even knew about, I think.
yeah.
And when I first saw Album, I was like, wow, how interesting and how crazy these boards look. And I would love to try them, And I think I wished it um enough to, be in the scenery nowadays and be part of the brand and yeah, ride for them and yeah, just
Was that first board you were talking about, the first one that you got from them after that meeting, was that an ASIM?
no, not really. So I have a little history, a little not history, a little story about that first board I got. So I was working in the desert, living with my wife and my mother-in-law, because that's where she lives.
And you're doing like cooking prep work, you said?
Yeah, yeah. I told you about at the after the contest, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was working at catering, doing prep cook, working as a waiter at Patty's. I served Phil Knife, the Phil Knight,
Yeah.
the founder of Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the parties.
There you
It's
go.
pretty crazy. But yeah, we would go to big parties in Palm Springs and like just I was trying to make money to move by the beach and also save money to do the QS.
Okay.
And at the moment, I was surfing maybe twice a month.
Okay. Just like you could
For
get a weekend off and you'd be able to just get to the coast for a day or two.
exactly, and try to call a friend and see if I could crash on their couch for a night,
And when you're
just so we
doing
could
that,
surf back to back.
was your mindset just like, hey, this is just like almost spiritual? I just need to like reset? Or was it like, I kind of need to train? Like, what was your headspace like when you were sneaking away from the desert for those surfs?
It's a good question. I feel like both. I was trying to like stay fit at the same time. I was just trying to like soak it in and enjoy the moment, just be grateful to be in the water. And yeah, to me it was really tough living in the desert. I went through times that I don't know, I was like, wow, this is a roller coaster, right? Like I was sponsored doing trips, had the opportunity to qualify and do the QS, like, and all of a sudden I'm living in the desert and working as a waiter,
Yeah.
you know. And but I always life is crazy because if you put a goal in your head, in your mind, if you have a good mindset, you can get to it. And that's what happened to me. I always wanted to keep surfing no matter what. I wanted to compete because I thought that was the way I had to live off of surfing, like to live my dream. And one of the drives to the beach, I was with my friends. We went to up north to Rincon and all the zone, and I was posting stories and like just enjoying my time with my friends and having some surf, having surfing a lot, like literally surfed all day. Would get cramps because I wasn't surfing much.
Yeah.
And Album sent me a DM. I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And that was already after you'd already been thinking about them for a while?
not even like obviously I would always look the boards up, and
Yeah.
it would be a dream to even try one of the boards, but never thought I would ride for them. I was
Yeah.
just like, it would be insane to try one of these boards, and a few days later I went into the shop, and I remember the very first time I tried to open the door was kind of like stuck. So I was like, I made my way in, and the boys in the shop, we still talk about this, and they're like, yeah, you forced your way in. And I was like, no, dude, I was just trying to open the door. It's pretty funny. Yeah, we talked for a bit. It was about 5 p.m. at the time, and it was the sun was setting around 7. It's a little detail, but it's worth worth listening to this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
They let me borrow this board. It's a
Mhm.
Twinsman, like perfect, maybe one time ridden, and they're trying to find fins, and they go to Matt's desk and they pick up these fins, his particular fins, and put it on the board. Oh, it looks good, feels good. It's a little big for me, but yeah, I feel like it'll work out. I We'll surf tomorrow. I'm like, heck no, I want to surf now.
Oh, come on. I got this board in my hands.
Exactly. The waves didn't even look that good, but I was like, I'm out there. So me and my friend Hebert, which was in California at the moment, I called a friend to drop us off, which lives close by. A friend, Yufu, I know him. He works for Sharpeye. He drops me off. I run to the beach, like literally raced my friend to get to the beach as soon as possible. There are lowers on the little trail, and had a blast. It was like a beautiful afternoon. I was getting to try my first album ever. Not even mine, just a borrowed board. Had a blast. It was super fun. I go in, change. We walk up the trail. Call my friend. He picks us up on a truck. Put the boards on the back. And from that on, you kind of know what happened.
What happened?
He gets on the freeway and the board flies away.
Yeah, I mean,
it was nighttime already, so we couldn't find the freaking board.
Oh no, you went looking for it on the freeway.
I went looking for it on the freeway, of course.
That's dangerous.
Big rigs are driving by, honking. I was like, you saw him trying to find this board.
I need it.
It's not even mine.
This is my first impression.
So yeah, I kept trying to find it for about an hour and a half. Did the whole walk, went into the bushes, nowhere to be seen. So
I love the detail.
If you have a Twinsman all white with a logo on the rails and stuff.
I love the detail about it being Matt's fins too. Like it wasn't just like a random set in it. I had to pull fins.
And I didn't even know him at the moment.
Straight from him.
And
I'll borrow these. No worries. I'll give them back to you tomorrow.
Never met him at the moment. I talked to Mike, which works there, and yeah, I gave them a call and I was like, hey, this happened. I'm really sorry.
The board went great, but
I'll save up to pay for it. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, clearly they understood. They weren't too upset with you.
Yeah, well, thankfully, that was my first impression on album.
That's awesome. Just storm in there, take a board. This is on the freeway. That's welcome to the team.
And I also, one other thing too, I also told them, I just signed up for this QS in Brazil. I don't want to waste the money. I just want to give it one last shot.
Yeah.
So 1 week, a couple days later, I went to Brazil, did the contest, lost first round, got last place probably.
What boards were you riding most recently when you were competing?
I was riding this shaper called Snappy from Brazil,
Okay.
but my whole childhood I rode Shine surfboards.
Okay. He's
Which
the one
is-
that you're saying had been making boards for
Yeah,
decades and had some cool
yeah.
older boards for you to try.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And yeah, that was it. Gave them a call right after we lost the QS that I was talking about, and I was like, I'm in. They were like, okay, well, let's do it.
Wow.
And they made me my two first boards were a ASIN twin with no nose, and I was like, when I grabbed it for the first time, I was like, wow, this is insane. Like, I wonder how this goes. And a Twinsman, and we went to Mexico, and I literally had a blast. It was
Wow.
a trip I'll never forget. It was incredible.
So it's just those two that you brought on the trip.
Yeah, I brought those two boards and
Kept them in the car the whole time. Didn't
one other board.
throw them on the Mexican highway.
Oh man, you should see how crazy I am about my boards. I take out really good care of them.
Yeah.
Put them in bags now.
Bought some straps after that.
I was strapped them up, and yeah, it was well. We always learn from doing something stupid.
Yeah. I know you're talking about before, you said that you just gave that QS one last go, and even your last trip here before this trip for the contest, well, for the fun contest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're underplaying your competitive career a bit. You had some massive results, and you were I remember the first I heard about you was just somebody who was potentially going to be another world title threat from Brazil.
That's what people looked at me and thought that I would do it, but I never really had the that Adriano de Souza factor in me.
Yeah.
But
what was the highlight of that side of your career? Even if a lot of it you felt like you were kind of forcing it, you didn't have it naturally, but what would you say was a moment that you most enjoyed when you were competing?
I had a couple wins in Brazil that were pretty big. I had a final against Caio Belli, beat Italo on the quarterfinals. It was a contest actually that my coach and Jesse were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse was at the time fully doing the comps, and
Well, he is now again, just as a commentator.
yeah, exactly, which
He's
is
back
super
on tour.
interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's super funny. Yeah, he was one of the main names on the comp, and he lost first round, and I signed up and I went for it, and I just kept going, made it through every heat in first and made it. Oh, actually, I lost first round. Sorry. Lost first round, had second round against Semi Pupo,
Mhm.
which at the time he was super young. Edgar Guarajá, which just made the tour.
Yeah.
Samuel Ego, which is a really good surfer from Brazil up north. And then my semis, my round 16 was against Italo, which is the defending champion at the moment. It was a pro junior under 21, and I was 16 at the moment. And I beat them all, and I won the contest. It was my highlight
Okay.
of my career.
Yeah, you beat some big names there.
Yeah, it was super fun. I also did a couple King of the Grounds in Brazil that were super fun, and obviously I was super young. Got third here in Santa Cruz in Portugal, which is pretty cool. In 2019, I also was my year that I fell off my major sponsor. Needed a result to make into the tour, which was right before COVID, and I got a third in Taiwan, which is super cool too. made it to the challenges, but then COVID hit. There was always something that didn't get me quite there, you know.
Mm.
And I feel like that was a message
Yeah,
from
it seems
the
like
universe.
everything happens for a reason type things.
Exactly. And yeah, that's how I take life. That's how it has been going. And like I said, just enjoying the ride and enjoying every moment that I have to, go out and surf and have fun.
Yeah.
Surfing is about having fun. It's not, I mean, at least to me, if I'm not having fun, I don't even want to surf.
Mm.
It's not a thing for me. My dad actually would always tell me that when I was young, and he would when I would get mad in the water and he was in the water, he would make me go in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
like, get out. Get out. You're not having fun. Get out.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You hear so much of the like opposite of that story of like a kid like not surfing good,
Which
like
is
the
baffling.
dad, like
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's baffling.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
So your dad would kick you out if you weren't having enough fun. That's awesome.
If I would be snapping, like,
Yeah.
get out. That's ugly. That's ridiculous. What are you doing?
In. Wow.
Go in. You
Damn.
don't deserve to be surfing. Like, get out,
That's awesome.
That was my childhood
That's great training.
biggest hero telling me what to do.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's just a good policy for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
Why be out there if you're not having fun?
yeah, true. Surfing's about fun, man. It's not trying to like surf better than anybody. Like,
Yeah.
that's at least to me what fell into competing world too. I don't know, it doesn't feel good to like, oh, I surf better than you.
Yeah.
I feel like we all should go out and have fun.
Yeah. Well, one good way to have fun is to mix it up with equipment.
Yep.
And so obviously, like you have your own model, but like you said, even that first trip to Mexico, you tried some different boards.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're at a point now? Because how long has it been since you've been with Album?
A little over 3 years now.
Okay. So with them for like 3 years, you probably know what you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But part of it is about experimentation too. Like, how do you find the balance between trying something new, just to be like, I want to see what this board feels like, and going back to like, even if it's your model just that is different, but like, how do you find the balance between experimenting and kind of using what what works, even if what works is already, more considered alternative?
I like surfing something different every day.
You just go different day, different challenge.
Different day, different waves. You always have the right board for the right waves, Obviously, you need that board. It's fun to have that board that you can ride in every condition, which is to me the Bongia nowadays.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy because it's an ASIM board and people are like, oh, doesn't that just only go right? Doesn't that, only works on certain type of waves, like perfect waves? I'm like, no, dude, it's just a board that allows you to push more on your heels, and it's kind of easier on your bottom turns, like the projection and the way it feels under your feet. It's super different, and it just works out. It's super fun. But yeah, when I want to cruise, I go on a cruisy board. When I want to do some turns that I feel good about, I want to surf on the Bongia, which is the model that if I maybe did the QS again, I wouldn't take that board.
Yeah.
Make a whole quiver of that and ride that. Which makes me think what the judges would think about it. They didn't even know what board I'm riding,
Yeah.
I think I would have to hide.
Yeah, maybe find a way to just like disguise the board, put it in camouflage.
I think back in the days there was a surfer that did that, right? Like he would like put the board under in a board sock and just literally right before he jumped in the water, take it out and sneak it out.
Really?
I heard a story of that.
Who was that, I wonder?
I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, I heard a story like that, and I was like, whoa, that sounds pretty crazy.
But it is interesting that you're so like open to the experimentation, just because if you think about competitive surfing, I guess it's just so repetitive. It's like, hey, I want to do this carve again and again, or this air again and again and again, just so I get the score because I know what the other people are going to do more or less. I know what I need to do to get an 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like a lot of people in surfing just want to repeat the same feelings,
Mm-hmm.
whereas you seem to just want to feel something entirely new.
Yeah, I feel like doing something different turns on a wave or different equipment makes makes you want more, like want to keep going, surf more, and just like I said, have fun. And yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
much my thing.
totally. Have there been times when you feel like, I mean, this doesn't just apply to alt boards. You could be out in a day and be on a 511 and then a wave comes your way and you're like, I wish I had a 6.3 for that. Like, but are there
Yeah.
times when you wish you're on something else, like any certain wave types or any experience you've had where you're just like, oh, maybe this board would have been a better choice, or do you feel like you'll just try to make a board work and whatever swings your way in the ocean?
I feel like the fun about it is try to figure it out and make it work. But when it's pretty much when I have that feeling is when the size is not the when it's bigger out there and I'm on a smaller board. I'm like, oh, I wish I was on a bigger board.
Yeah, but
But
like I said, that could apply to any board.
exactly, yeah. But I only had probably like 3 thrusters in this 3 years that I've been riding for Matt, which
Okay.
is crazy, and I don't regret it.
Yeah.
It's so fun riding ASIMs and just different. Most of the times when I'm in Cali, I go into his garage and I grab his personal boards, and it's just chunky, like experimental boards that he's working on, and I'm like, oh, I like that one, like
Yeah.
it's super fun, and yeah, it's just about writing something different. It makes me want to keep surfing. I feel
Awesome.
like that little kid that used to walk to the beach with my friends. I feel that's in me again
Yeah.
with writing different boards, and yeah.
Well, I think people like when people when you think about boards, I think you need to have the perspective a bit of like think about where we came from. People riding pieces of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you look back at any of the old kind of drawings and stuff we have, and even early photographs of people in Hawaii riding pieces of wood, they're having fun clearly. They
Exactly.
look like they're having more fun than a lot of people are in like the most modern equipment we have now. And so I think if you look at it from that perspective of like, look, literally a piece of wood can achieve that goal of having fun, then why are we overthinking it? Like
Exactly.
it's just if the purpose is fun, which I think we can all agree it is,
Yeah.
then yeah, you can make that work on anything,
It's
right?
it's the future. It's humanity. They always want to change and find that little difference in the tiniest little details, but like you said, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's literally just
I mean, if
look back at a drawing. They're
yeah,
having fun.
well, surfing's in the Olympics nowadays, which is insane. Like those guys should, you know, be really on it. But if you're not competing, man, why even why even care about that stuff?
Yeah,
Just get a board that has a lot of volume. Which that's another thing too. People trip out on volume. Like just ride as much volume as you can. Make your life easier. Don't struggle out there. I see people trying to get into waves. They're like, I'm like, why?
I've even heard theories. Like I have a friend who scanned a bunch of boards, like just 3D scanned, and found that on average, a lot of the boards have volume that is listed lower than what he's measuring with his 3D scanner, just because like people want to feel good about themselves, so they'll be like, oh yeah, 26.3 liters, whereas it's like they threw some more in there
That's the
just
best.
to make the person think like, oh, this thing paddles great or
It,
feels so good, just carries speed.
exactly, man. If you don't know anything about boards, don't follow leaders.
Yeah,
That's not a shaper should know the leaders to copy a board for a surfer that is doing the competing, and he wants the exactly same board so he feels good under his feet and stuff. But if you're not competing and doing all that, you should not even care about that stuff. Whatever feels good under your arm, whatever feels good when you're out in the water and you're not struggling
yeah.
to get a wave. Most of the surfers are too. They only surf during weekends, and they go out on a ripstick, and they're like, I didn't have fun. I'm like, obviously, you're not in the right board, you know? Like, pump up those volumes and see how it goes, you know? Like,
Yeah.
the volume, pump up the volumes. Well, pump up the dims on the board and see the difference. It's gonna be clear that you need more, you know?
So if we're gonna talk like advice, there's one tip for you folks: pump up the volume.
Pump up, yeah, pump up the
I've heard you
dims.
talk a lot now about just foot placement too. Do you have any other
Mhm.
like I guess general tips or advice you have for people looking to and look at it through the perspective of like what might help somebody have more fun rather than like, hey, I swear your cutback's gonna feel way better if you hold your front arm this way, or, you know what I mean? Do you have any other advice in that kind of vein?
Um, yeah, riding different boards. A twin. My old shaper would always tell me a twin always corrects your surfing because you can't really surf like you surf on a shortboard. So with that being said, just even whatever board you're surfing, just try to position your feet forward, backward, move it around, and find the good section of the wave where you want speed. We all want speed. We want to go fast, right? And sometimes if you just keep your feet way too far back, the board is gonna be like
Yeah,
dragging water. You want that board to um
be sitting into the water more, planing better, so you're not
exactly,
just like
exactly.
no surface of the board in the
Mhm.
water.
Yeah. And at moments too, you want to do that to gain speed, and then you want to step back to bottom turn and do a turn. It's just, yeah, if you keep your feet on the same spot, it's not gonna feel the same for sure. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I think. And yeah, riding different boards to me makes me do that because not every board is gonna be in the same, you know.
yeah, you have to explore it a bit more.
Mhm.
How often is it that you'll find yourself like jumping on a new board and clicking with it first wave? If it's something like pretty new.
Man, I think I had 3 or 4 sessions that I surfed it for the first time, that board for the first time ever, and it was probably one of the best surfs that I ever had.
Mm.
I was like, wow, Matt did it again.
He did it again.
Yeah, he's crazy. He just shapes so many boards and all the he just does it right. It's super fun to experience that, you know. Not every time you jump on a board for the first time and you know how it goes and you get used to how it feels.
Yeah,
And yeah, quite often. The answer to the question and you you asked is quite often,
that's great.
which is cool. Yeah, I had a couple first sessions that marked my. I remember it like it feels like yesterday. You
Yeah,
know those and again, it's about having fun. I had fun at those sessions. The board felt good. First impression, first feelings on top of a different board, and yeah,
yeah,
felt good.
nice.
It didn't even matter where I was, I don't think. Like it was more about how much fun I had, and yeah.
You're just like, yeah, all right, it works. That's done it again.
Exactly.
Um, was there a moment where, because obviously you talked about, you grew up with a competitive background, you lost your sponsors. How long were you living in the desert for?
I was out there for about 6 to 8 months.
6, 8 months. You're only able to surf like once or twice a month, and then the end of that comes with this album thing. Did you have a moment where it was like clear to you that you could have a life as a free surfer again? Like, was there a certain clip that went viral, or I mean, I know you have a deal with album now, but like anything where you really got the sense like, oh wow, this is my career now. Like, what was there a moment, or did it kind of happen slowly where things were just trending that way, and now here you are?
Feel like my in my head I visioned it right when I got that message from album. I was like, whoa, this is it. This is my opportunity,
Yeah,
you know? And yeah, I want it so bad. I'll do whatever it takes for it to happen. And yeah, I'm a hardworking person. I put goals in my head and I want to achieve it. More like um supporting my family majorly, majorly, ma- ma-
Majorly, yeah.
majorly. Yep. Again, English is my second.
Yeah, you speak it brilliantly.
Thank you. But so most of the times I'm thinking in Portuguese, trying to spit out in English, and sometimes it's not what I'm thinking that comes out, but I hope you guys understand.
I think they'll be fine.
And like I was saying, majorly I want to support my family as much as I can. Brazil is tough. Um, my dad and my brother and my sister, my mom, just want to give them as much as I can back because they supported me a lot growing up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
Nice.
my biggest goal.
Got it. And so what's next? I know you mentioned you're working on a Snap 5 part. Is that kind of the big focus right now? Try some boards, stack some clips for that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to not put much pressure in me. I don't wanna have a part that looks like other people's part. I just wanna go out and, like I said, over and over again, have fun and be part of a movie that I looked up to growing up. It's pretty cool. Even last night, I was up until like 1 a.m. because Snap 4 started playing because we were watching Second Thoughts,
Uh-huh.
me and Balaran, and he got up and he was like, "I'm going to bed, man." And I have a thing in me that every time I start watching something, I need to finish it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so Second Thoughts finished and started playing Snap 4, and I was like, "Wow, this is insane! Oh, look at that!" Like I've watched it a few times already, but I stayed up and I watched it again, and yeah, I don't think you're gonna see big pipeline barrels in my section, but oh, there will be some cruisy waves and trying to rip a bit. So yeah.
Nice. And when does that come out?
uh, in June.
In June.
Yeah,
Nice.
June or August, something like that.
Cool. Anything else you'd like to tease while we're here?
Um, I don't know. I think we talked about it all, right?
We got deep.
Yeah. How long has it been?
Good the what? One and a bit.
It's
Okay.
over an hour. We've made it over an hour.
Well, I might need to let you go to lunch then. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's not actually food.
Yeah, it would be nice. Well, wouldn't be surprised if it was a real plate in front of us. We're in Portugal.
Next
and
time. We're working on it.
Eating here is a big thing.
Cool.
I love it.
We'll let you do more of that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I honestly don't like much doing podcasts, but this was a super fun one. Thank you so much for having me. I
My
would do it
pleasure.
again anytime, and yeah, it's been fun.
Well, next time you come, we'll have a nice, real piece of food for you.
We need some pastéis de nata and
Yeah.
yeah.
Until then, I'll let you get to the vineyard.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to talk about surfing and yeah,
Yeah.
how life goes on.